we have here Matt Wilburn, and I just wanted Matt to share with the group his recent experience in a very tiny market. I find that Tupelo, Mississippi is not one of the largest metropolitan areas in the United States, though I love that town. Matt came to a Major Guest Ramp-Up event for 2 days, which you all now have access to. As Nano members, you never have to pay to go to a Major Guest Ramp-Up conference. He was, and if I may say, this is meant to be a compliment, he was an idiot savant, in that I called him the next week, and it was as though he was doing my presentation back to me because of his ability to memorize and absorb this information. Here's what he said to me: fundraising finally makes sense starting from scratch. And then he moved through the model and impressed me in a way that we've never experienced before. He has just had his he has just had his awareness event, and I would love it if you'd share it with the group. Give Matt Wilburn a hand.
Our signature event was November the 8th. No, I'm sorry, awareness event. I apologize. I've got the other one on my mind because it's coming up.
Right.
But the awareness event was something, and I had always run into trouble. Anybody here that is a part of a counseling organization that does counseling? Anybody? Okay. Here's my dilemma when I running this organization was whenever I would get in front of a group of people or an organization or a meeting to tell about what we do, I was going with hopeful ambition of someone approaching me and offering me money. That never happened. But you know what I got at every meeting that I went to? More work, because I got their problems. Lots of times it was their problems and their family's problems. So I had an issue. How do I go about this fundraising and getting the money we need to accomplish what we feel like we are capable of doing and doing already, along with everything? And so I had so many question marks because everything I tried had not led me in the right direction. And I don't know about you, but I did not receive a ton of education when it came to fundraising and raising money in college or anywhere else. So lots of times I was good at what I was doing, but I didn't feel like I was necessarily good at all those other things. And so this came along and answered a lot of questions. In fact, the donor matrix page is what really sold me, which is an odd page to sell you on.
Yes.
But you want to know why? It was, I learned my organization had only asked the repayers for a donation. Less than 10% of the giving population in America. I knew that we had not tapped either the pious or the religious or those that were communitarians and cared about their area.
Yes.
I had never sat down in front of the right people. And so that was a big deal. So the awareness event comes along, and I plan it, and I send out the invitations, and we go through the process. Lewis isn't here, is he?
He is not.
Good, because I'm going to tell him in a little bit. During that event, I would call and ask these deep, hard questions that I needed answered. And he would always come back with this simple thing of saying, but Matt, stop. Have you bought the green balloons? I don't know if there is a picture. He has one somewhere.
I have it.
But I told him, I said, listen, I don't care about balloons. I'm trying to do an awareness event. He would always stop me. And I say that because of this. These guys have been through this process so many times, there's not a detail that isn't covered. That was something that I didn't know. Do you know why he thought the balloons were so important? Because at our location where we put signs out, there were people that came into our event that said, you know, if it wouldn't have been for the balloons, I would have missed the turn. Who thinks of that? And so anyway, we have an event. We had all the right, and this is what I've heard from my community. Matt, that was probably the best event I've seen in the last 10 years in this city. Matt, you had all the right people in the room. And this is what, in Tupelo, Mississippi, a little old place, we have the largest organization and an endowment that hands out money in the entire state. It's the Create Foundation. Mike Claiborne, who is the president of the foundation, has been since 1992. So he's going off of 1992 till now, information in our area. He said, Matt, that's the best presentation I've seen in my years. This guy hands out money for a living, literally. And so he says, keep asking, keep doing what you're doing because you're going to get every dime you need. And so it was fascinating. We went through that day, had a great lunch. We covered every detail. If you don't know what I do, Monday through Friday is I do a counseling agency, and we help people with all sorts of problems going through every different seasons, it may be 8 to 80. And the selling point of the entire day is when Jenna got up. Jenna came to me almost exactly 1 year to the day that her husband had committed suicide. He was one of those 22 that come back from Iraq changed. And she could tell you that a different person got off the plane this time. And so they had gone through battles and battles and battles, and due to PTSD, he thought the best way out and the best solution one night was to end the situation. She was pregnant with twins. And so almost 1 year after having the twins, she came to me and said, we need to work through some things. She has 5 children, raising them by herself. So she got up after several years of us spending time together, and I love what she said. She said this. The best thing about what she said, I thought all night long, was this, because I always have an exit interview when I'm talking to them, and they're about to leave the counseling process. And so she said, I have more good days than bad days. Now, that may not mean a lot to you, but to be where she's at with 2 twins that are 3, an 8-year-old, a 13-year-old, and a 16-year-old girl, pray, yeah, right? Good days are pretty awesome. And I love what she said. And I asked her one time as I was ending, I said, Jenna, out of everything we've ever talked about, out of everything we've covered, and I expected some brilliant answer, right? What was the one thing that's kind of stuck out to you over all of our time together? She said, Matt, you told me you were proud of me. And no one's ever told me that. And so it was a wonderful day, a wonderful event. We got done 6 minutes early, so we dismissed at 12:52. And I'll tell you, if you decide to do it, you don't want more than 150 there, because you know what you got to do after all those 150 come? Follow up. I thought, I want 200, 250 there. No, I struggled to get through the 150. And so we are marching through. We've been able to sit down. That event allowed me to sit down with people that I have no business sitting down with. And next week, I will ask for the first time in our organization's history for a 6-figure gift, and I'm going to get it. And so the only debate is how much in the 6-figure. And so this is what this process does. You stick with it. You keep grinding day by day. If you spend a day and a half, that's fine. If you do it an hour a day, that's fine. Find out what works with you. There will be bumps in the road. Lewis will always answer the phone, or whoever's doing it. And they have been the right coach. They are coaches. He'll help you make the right decision. They are teammates who will get out on the field with you. And they are the cheerleaders that will plead your cause with you. And I don't know what kind of offer you will get from anybody else, but it's hard to top that. Thanks, guys.